Alrighty, good morning everyone. Today we'll be doing an oil change on this 2011 Volvo XC70 with the 3.2 liter inline six engine. It's definitely overdue for one. Let me show you guys what you need real quick. So this car normally calls for 5W30, but I'm putting 5W40 in it because, I mean, the engine almost has 400,000 kilometers on it. I'm gonna put a bit of Marvel Mystery Oil that is totally optional. Some rubber gloves are nice to have. You're gonna need a 36 millimeter socket for the oil filter that is horribly placed down here in the engine bay, which I'm gonna show you guys how to access that a little bit easier. You're gonna need, obviously, a ratchet with an extension, a few extensions at least. And you will also need a 17 millimeter socket to take the oil drain bolt out. Of course, without a doubt, you also need a new oil filter. So, as you can see here, car is asking for an oil change. Essentially, we are at 382,537 kilometers. That's about 6,000 kilometers, 7,000 actually since the last oil change. For an old vehicle like this, that is kind of pushing it, but that's why we're getting it done right now. So I didn't film this process, but there are 8 T30 Torx bolts that hold on the underbody shield. It is fabric, pretty easy to remove. Once you remove that, you will see your oil pan right there and the drain bolt right there, in which we will be removing. So let's get started. Okay, so for better oil filter access, I like to remove the headlight. It's pretty easy. This just comes right out. You know, it's easier to do this with two hands, obviously. So you pull this right out. Hold on, there we go. Then you're gonna take this connector off and that's pretty much it. Okay, obviously for good measures, I'm gonna remove the engine cover for more room. Dipstick's gonna get out of the way, and the power steering reservoir, it's also a good practice to move this out of the way so you have a bit more room. So literally just lifts up, and mine doesn't have that much room to move. So try to move it out of your way as best as you can, like that. Then remove the dipstick, and then you'll be able to access your engine oil filter. Obviously, we're gonna remove the oil cap too. That is just as important. All right, coming under this very, very rusty vehicle, I've been able to crack the drain bolt off. It was Hercules tight, like unbelievable. So I'm gonna remove that, let the oil drain out, and we will move on to removing the oil filter. Alrighty, it's no surprise I spilt a bunch, but she's draining out nicely. Oil's pretty dirty, so I'm glad I'm changing this out right now. Okay, I've started removing the oil filter. It's right here, pretty self-explanatory. You just need to crack it loose, let it drain a little bit. I'd recommend putting a towel or a paper towel or a cloth of some sort that you don't care about to just catch any of that residual oil. If not, it'll just go down to your floor. But I'm gonna crack it loose like I've done, let it drain out for a little bit. Okay, I've never encountered a more difficult oil filter to remove and put back in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this in the housing or the reservoir, and then I'm gonna put this in because quite frankly, maneuvering all of this through here is really difficult and I don't got much room through here, so stay tuned. Okay, wow. That was quite the challenge, but I made it happen. What I did is I stuck the paper filter in first, and then the hardest part is getting that stupid reservoir back in because there's just no room here. And I didn't want to damage any power steering hoses because this is a 16-year-old vehicle, if my math is correct, 15, I guess. So yeah, I got it back in, and it was very difficult, as I've mentioned. I'm gonna torque it down to about 20 foot-pounds of torque, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put the drain bolt back in and add some oil. Okay, drain bolt is back in and is torqued to spec. Got that all done. Now we're gonna fill the engine up with some 5W40. So this vehicle takes approximately 7.4 liters of oil. I'm gonna put a full one of these, half of this bottle, and to about right here, because I don't want to overfill it. So about 6% of the oil is going to be Marvel Mystery Oil, just because, you know, it's going to be good for the engine. So let's get to doing that. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you guys real quick the little mixture I'm doing here. So I just threw a full one of these in, of 5W40 that meets the specification of this vehicle. I threw half of that bottle of Marvel Mystery Oil in right after, and then I'm gonna top it off with about 1.8 liters down to about here of engine oil, so it gets to 7.4 liters, which is the correct level. Make sure there's no leaks and you should be good to go. Okay, so before I back the car off the ramps and check the oil level, I'm gonna go ahead and put the splash guard back on. But all in all, that pretty much sums up how to do an oil change on any Volvo with the 3.2 liter inline six engine. Okay, so now we're gonna check the oil level. The engine's ran for a bit. I've let it sit for about 5 minutes. Just gonna check and make sure we are within the lines. So I just wiped it, but you can see exactly on this dipstick where the top end is. So it really should be between these lines, but I like to fill it right to the top end. Give it a quick check. And we are right there, guys. First try. All right, I do apologize for the glare, but I was finally able to figure out how to reset the maintenance reminder on this vehicle. So you're gonna wanna make sure the key is in the slot, press the start stop button one time, make sure the trip odometer is set to T2, and then you're gonna wanna press and hold the trip odometer button at the same time as the start stop button until the ignition comes on. Release the start stop button. Once the information light flashes 3 times, you're gonna remove your finger from the trip odometer button, and then you'll hear a beep. 1, 2, 3, remove. So if you hear that beep, that means you did it correctly and your maintenance reminder has been reset. Okay, everything sounds good. Car's running great, 382,000 kilometers. Ready for another 100,000, hopefully. Maybe not, we'll see, but that is how you do an oil change on a 2011 Volvo XC70 with a absolute pain in the ass oil filter, but I got it done. Hopefully this video can be helpful to anyone else.